Hello, my name is Martin Cowen, and we are going to learn some ancient Greek today. I am a student of ancient Greek. In January of 2018, I created a small study group in Atlanta, Georgia, and we asked a retired ancient Greek professor to come and teach us from one of the textbooks called Reading Greek, and that's the one I'm going to use right now. I've been studying Greek now for going on 8 years. Part of my study has included going to classes at the University of Georgia. I started in the fall of 2020, and I will continue in the fall of 2025. I start next month in August with another class at the University of Georgia. My ultimate goal personally is to start teaching a class of high-functioning high school students, 11th and 12th graders, here in the Atlanta area. I want to tutor them in ancient Greek. I'm unaware of any high schools in Georgia that teach ancient Greek, and there are only a few schools that do these days. Excuse me. The University of Georgia teaches ancient Greek, and they have a nice program. They teach from a book called Athanasde. Emory University teaches from the books that I'm using in this class, Reading Greek. At Agnes Scott, they teach beginning ancient Greek using Athanasde, I believe. And at a private college in Savannah called Ralston College, they use a book called Hansen and Quinn. But I like the book that I use for teaching purposes. And here's an image of the book we're going to use, Reading Greek, Text and Vocabulary. There are other books in this series, all of which are useful, and we'll use them as this course proceeds. It's published by the Joint Association of Classical Teachers, Greek course, the first edition in 1978 and the second edition in 2007. This book and the related books and a CD are very important, and I urge you to purchase these books to go along with the course I'm going to teach here. All right, so we have already looked at the first two paragraphs on page 4 of the text, and we've read it out loud, and it's very, very important to read it out loud and to for you to read it out loud, hear it out loud, write it, and to memorize it if possible. To ploion estin bizontio, and the bizontio ho hegestratos bine est to ploion. Telos de ho kubernetes kai ho nautai es binusin es ploion. To de ploion plei es kion, and de kio ho rhapsodos es bine. Epeta de plei to ploion eboian, and de eboia espine ho dikaiopoulos telos de pros tas Athenas plei ton ploion kai pros ton parea. Okay, so what this means is the ship is in Byzantium, and in Byzantium, Hegestratos gets on the ship. Finally, the captain and the sailors get on the ship, and the ship sails to Chios. In Chios, the rhapsode gets on, and then the ship sails to Euboea. And in Euboea, Dikaiopoulos, the person's name, gets on the ship. Telos de pros. And finally, the ship sails towards Athens and towards the Piraea. All right, the second paragraph on paragraph 2 is Tomenum ploion plei, ode xenotemis pros tein gain blepe. Ti hora hozotemis hora tein te acropolin kai ton partenona. Epeta de o dikaiopoulos kai ho kubernetes pros tein gain blepusin. Ti horosin ho dikaiopoulos kai ho kubernetes kai ho dikaiopoulos kai ho kubernetes tein te acropolin horosi ti ton partenona. Exyphnes ho dikaiopoulos kai o Kubernetes sophon akousen. Now, we've read that over and over again, and we'll probably read it more, and we'll probably read it more in this lesson. Very important to read it yourself out loud, very important to hear it out loud, and you can buy the CD for that purpose, or you can follow along with me as you just did. Today, we're going to do probably the most important lesson in ancient Greek, and that is a study of the definite articles, and we're going to put it into a chart. Here is what the chart looks like. Now, grammar, is a weakness for most people who learn English in America, unfortunately. And knowing grammar thoroughly is very, very important to learning most foreign languages, and especially Greek and Latin. Of course, we're doing Greek. So what we have here is a couple of tables for the definite article. Now, the definite article is simply the word the. And in Greek, and it has a number of forms. And it's going to agree with the noun it modifies. So you talk about the boat or the person. And it can have a number, which means whether it's singular or plural. And you can see in the upper left-hand corner of each of these two tables, I have the word singular articles and the word plural articles. It can also have a case like a subject, or the nominative case is often a subject. And so the cases that we'll be looking at in this exercise are nominative, accusative, genitive, and dative. And it also can have a gender, a masculine gender, so you would say ho dikaiopoulos for a man, feminine gender, and you can have a neuter gender like to ploion for the ship. And so we're going to fill out this table in the exercise today. And in order to fill out this table, we're going to look at the text that we've already just read, and this again is paragraph 1, and I've highlighted in red the definite article ta. And we see it almost, I think in every instance here it goes with ploion, so it just means the ship. So the first phrase, as you may recall, means the ship is in Byzantium, to ploion. And then the next occurrence is Hegestratos gets on the ship. So here, to ploion is the object of a preposition on to, eis to ploion. So in the first instance, to ploion estin, this is a nominative, and in the second instance, it's an accusative case. It's neuter, ship is neuter, and it's singular. The other occurrences here are es to ploion, again, it's a preposition. To deploion plei, the ship sails, it's a nominative subject. And then we have to ploion, es eboion, again, it's a subject, the ship sails to eboion. And then the final occurrence is to let's see, telos de pros tas Athenas plei to ploion kai pros ton paireia. And so again, it is a subject, the ship sails. Finally, the ship sails towards Athens and towards the Piraea. And so we put it in the table. It's singular, it's neuter, and we have two forms, ta and ta. They're both the same form. And this is true of all neuter, singular adjectives. They're all the same form. Okay, the next article that we come across is ha. And we have ha Hegestratos, which is a man's name, ha Kubernetes, which is a category, the captain. Then we have ha Rhapsodos, which is the rhapsode, the poet, the singer. And then finally, ho Dikaiopoulos. And this is a nominative, singular, masculine article. And so we enter it in that spot in the table. Nominative, singular, masculine article. See it all. We'll see this all the time. You will see this all the time in Greek literature. The next article we come across is hoi nautai. And this is telos de ho Kubernetes kai ho nautai es bainusin es deployon. So that says, and finally the captain and the sailors, plural, get on the ship. hoi nautai, hoi nautai. Hoi is masculine, it's plural, and it is nominative. And so we enter it in that point in the chart right there. And then we have another single occurrence of prostas Athenos, at the last line there, and that says finally the ship sails towards Athens. Tas Enos is the Athens. This is plural, it is feminine, and it is accusative. So prostas Athenos, that's a prepositional phrase, towards the Athens. Of course, we wouldn't say that, we wouldn't translate it that way, but we would say towards Athens. So we enter in that spot in the table, accusative, feminine, plural. And then we have another article, pros ton pareia. And this one is parallel with pros tas Athenos. The only difference here is that the pareia is masculine and it is singular, so you're sailing towards the Piraea. So this says again, and finally the ship sails towards Athens and the Piraea. Pros ton Piraea. So we'll enter that in the table at this point as accusative, masculine, and singular. All right, so then we're back on, we're going on to the second paragraph, which I read at the beginning, and we only have one occurrence of it here. Only one occurrence where we use it again is ta ploion, tomenun, pleion, plei, and so then the ship sails. And this is nominative, singular, neuter. And so we don't have to enter it in the table because we already did. Excuse me. It's nominative, singular, and neuter. Okay, as I mentioned, you're going to see ha a lot of time, a very common article. We have ha de xenotemis, ha xenotemis. We have ha xenotemis again. We have ha Dikaiopoulos, ha Kubernetes. We have ha Dikaiopoulos again, ha Kubernetes again, ha Dikaiopoulos, ha Kubernetes, and then ha Kubernetes. So we already entered that in the table, so we don't have to enter it again, but you can see it is there, nominative, singular, masculine. And then we have tain blepe. Oh, I'm sorry, tain gain. And this simply means, this is another instance of its position as an accusative object of the preposition pros tain gain. And so you'll see that, and xenotemis looks toward the land. Pros tain gain, looks toward the land. And this is a feminine, it is singular, and it is accusative. So we'll enter a new one at the feminine accusative singular portion of the table above there. You see we've entered tain in there. And then we have tone partenona. And so this is, I guess this is a direct object, so ho xenotemis hora tainete acropolin kai tone partenona. So Xenotemis looks, he sees the Acropolis and he sees the Parthenon. And then again, the same thing occurs down below, ton Parthenona, where again it is the object of the verb, where it says Dikaiopoulos and the captain, they together see, plural, the Acropolis and the Parthenon, ton Parthenona. So we'll enter that in the table, accusative, masculine, singular. So here is the entire text one more time with all of the articles highlighted in red. Ta ploion estin on bizontio, and the bizontio ha hegastratos bine est ta pleion, telos de ha kubernetes, hoi nautai, espainusen est ta ploion de ploion plei eskion, and de kio ha rhapsodos espine, epeta de to ploion es eboion. and de eboia espane ho dikaiopoulos, telos de tas Athenas plei to ploion pros ton kai pros ton paria. Excuse me. And here's the second paragraph with the all the articles highlighted. Tomenun ploion plei ho de xenotemis pros tein again blepi. Ti hora ho xenotemis ho xenotemis ora tein te acropolin kai ton partenona. Epeta de ho dikaiopoulos kai ho kubernetes pros tein again blepusen. Ti horosen ho dikaiopoulos kai ho kubernetes kai ho dikaiopoulos kai ho kubernetes tein te acropolin orosi kai ton partenona. Exyphnes ho de dikaiopoulos kai ho kubernetes sophon akusen. Obviously, you wouldn't read it like that. I'm emphasizing the articles. All right, so we've done the table. I filled in the rest of the table. We haven't encountered the other instances of it, but now is the time. Let me emphasize, now is the time to memorize this table. The greatest achievement and benefit you can have in learning ancient Greek is to memorize this table now. Please memorize this table now. It is absolutely crucial. It's a lifesaver. It's totally worth it. It's the first thing to memorize. So let me read the whole table. Ha, he, ta. Ton, tain, ta. Tu, tes, ta. To, te, to. Hoi, hi, ta. Tus, tas, ta. Ton, ton, ton. Tois, tais, tois. Memorize this table. Work, work, work on this. All right, that's it for today. Thank you for watching my video, and learn the definite articles. The most important thing you can do in the beginning of learning ancient Greek is to memorize this table. Absolutely essential. Thank you for listening. See you next time.